Yo, what's happening, people? It's your boy Michael Griggs, and welcome back to Griggs Talks, where I talk all things sports. Welcome back to a show I haven't done in a minute. I haven't done it since, I think, the end of the group stages for Champions League, the European Night Recap Show. Obviously, kind of started that with its clip. Make sure you guys go subscribe to this clip, of course. Kind of started that show where we kind of talk about UCL, so didn't really have to do it. But obviously, today was Europa League, Conference League, and obviously, we'll talk about Champions League the past couple of days because it's still relevant to the conversation. And we're kind of just gonna recap all the draws, all the games, and kind of look at also what's it called, the upcoming semifinals that are happening. Ma, Volcanis. My bad. So we have all that kind of stuff. So we'll talk about it, and obviously make sure you like, share, subscribe. For the one person that's in here right now. I hope you like, share, and subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, let's start with obviously. We'll start with Champions League first. Kind of do it more quickly before I get into Europa League. What the hell is legal? What the hell is legal? And then obviously we'll start with I'll start with Real Madrid versus Manchester City. We have obviously Real Madrid beat Manchester City. They stopped the treble, all that kind of the back-to-back treble that Manchester City wanted to do. And yeah, it was a great game. It was a really thrilling tie. Last week we had obviously what's it called, the 3-3 draw at the Bernabeu. It was a fantastic game, thriller goals, all that kind of stuff. It was sensational. Big up Zachariah in the comments. We had that thrilling game, but obviously at the Etihad, it was kind of, I like to call it was either revenge or history repeating itself, right? That's what Madrid had at the Etihad. Because last year, Madrid at the Etihad got absolutely embarrassed. It was the worst game I've ever seen from Real Madrid in my life watching football. They got absolutely bullied, annihilated, everything you don't expect to see from a Real Madrid team. And this year, obviously, from the first, I could kind of tell already it was a different Real Madrid team. It's not the same Real Madrid of old. Not old last year. They added a couple of players, maybe like a Jude Bellingham. They have a little bit more belief. The system looks a little bit better. In La Liga, they're also thriving much more, so they have a lot more confidence. And last week at the Bernabeu, you could tell physically they were able to match Manchester City. I talked about that on this clip. I said City weren't able to bully Real Madrid like they were last year. So I'm like, if Madrid can match the physical battle with City, they can do something. And that's what ended up happening in this game. Obviously, City dominated the game. Let's not get it twisted. They had all the chances. They had the possession, the shots, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, football is not about possession. It's about putting the ball in the back of the net. It's about winning the match. And that's what happened with Real Madrid. I don't know if it was a draw and went to penalties, but Real Madrid defended excellently. Big up Lunin, who's the backup goalkeeper to Thibaut Courtois. Excellent performance. Dani Carvajal did the best he could against Doku and Grealish. It felt like elder abuse at some point, but he got past it. Ferland Mendy had a decent performance. Nacho Fernandez did an excellent job on Erling Haaland, by the way. Rudiger as well, top guy, and Cruz in the six, that kind of stuff. They performed excellently. So gotta give credit to Real Madrid. As for Manchester City, listen, I know a lot of people are trying to do the troll stuff. It's like Zab said, it's your hate watching this week. Yeah, I mean, this week has been sensational with hate watch, right? But with Manchester City, obviously, it's really hard to do it back-to-back with the Champions League. Forget the treble talk, first of all. Just to repeat the Champions League. Forget what City are doing in the Premier League and all that kind of stuff. To repeat in the Champions League is very hard. Only Real Madrid have done it in the past since the new motto, 92, right? When the Madrid did the three-peat. That is an anomaly. That's a once-in-a-lifetime where you'll see a team repeat in the Champions League and do a three-peat. Everything fell on their side, right? Manchester City, are they the best team in the Champions League? Yes. Do they have the best squad? Yes. Were they the favorites? Absolutely. But that's the beauty of knockout football. All it takes is one punch to get knocked out. And Real Madrid dealt several punches, but the final one was in the penalty shootout. That's what ended up happening. So City fans should obviously be disappointed, but I don't think their season's a failure because they did do the treble last year, and it's basically impossible to do a back-to-back treble. I don't think the team has yet to do a back-to-back treble. So when you look at it from that perspective, you're like, they might still win the Premier League and they might win the FA Cup. That's 2 trophies in the season. That is success. And obviously they won the Super Cup, they won the Club World Cup, so they have those trophies in the bag as well. So it's a successful season. What are your thoughts about KDB and Haaland ducking extra time? Let's get into that right away, right? Obviously, KDB and Haaland. I thought Haaland had a poor game again. It's becoming a recurring theme in the big games with Erling Haaland. It's really big up. I think this, hey, I look like McStaffy. I bottled life. Hey, Greg, big up. First of all, Sunshine, first of all, the staff sent you guys here to say that. First of all, I am a European semi-finalist. A lot of you people cannot say that this year. City fans can't say that. Liverpool fans can't say that. Chelsea fans can't say that. No one else can say that. I am a European semi-finalist. So there you go. Great thanks for defending. We'll get into Liverpool as well because Mike Dash is a fraud. Make sure y'all like the video as you get in here. Share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Let's put the banner up. So it went away. Never mind. There we go. Like, share, subscribe. And yeah, back to Haaland and KDB. Haaland had a poor game. Terrible game again. Rudiger locked him up. Nacho locked him up. It's not good enough. And this is why I say for me, Erling Haaland cannot be the best player in the world. I can't consider someone whose overall game isn't that clean. It's not that effective. And it's not even like, even if his overall game was bad, right? If he just popped up with the goals, clutch goals, I'd say, all right, fair enough, man. You're just a clutch goal scorer. But his physical battles, he's weak. He can't handle the physicality of a Nacho and a Rudiger. That for me, bro, I just can't put you in that kind of talk. So I think for me, Erling Haaland, he kind of ducks smoke. Let's be real. Bro, he's still like 23, 24. Bro, you can play 120 minutes. Let's be real, man. You're not injured. KDB, I understand. KDB getting subbed off. The guy is playing on one hamstring. He's cooked, man. It's time for KDB to wrap it up, man. It's time to hand over the keys. I think for him, he's kind of cooked. So we'll see what ends up happening with KDB. But I understand why he got subbed off. Erling Haaland, bro, play the full 120 minutes. Why can't you do that? Jude did it. Vinicius tried his best to do it, but he played more. He played half extra time. That's what it is for me. So, yeah, man. Klopp is a flop. Talk about Jurgen Klopp later. What point did I agree with Vid? I agree with Vid about what she was talking about Jurgen Klopp. The way that Mike Bass was talking about Jurgen Klopp was absolutely ridiculous. That is really, really crazy. But do it for flop. Knocked out Fred. Yeah, man, shout out Fred, bro. That's the boy, but yeah, he had to hold that. The commentator ridiculed Keane's Haaland. Let's be real. Roy Keane's comment was a little overboard. Haaland's not a League 2 level player, but he's also not the best player in the world. That's what it is. City fans try to put him up there in that pedestal. For me, out on that pitch, there were two players that were distinctively better than Erling Haaland that are in the same bracket as him, right? Vinicius Jr. for me is a better player than Erling Haaland. So is Jude Bellingham. For me, those two are better players than Erling Haaland. But before I go into like the KDBs, the Phil Foden's, all that kind of stuff. So that's what it is for me. I just don't think he's the best player in the world. He is probably the best striker in the world, but I think Harry Kane has a real shout for that as well. So I don't rate Haaland like that, but he has double team plus the best in the world. Yeah, obviously. Mbappe was ass versus Barca, right? But not really. This first leg he was terrible. But the second leg, he linked play. His overall game was a lot better against Barca, and he ended up getting the 2 goals, man. That's what the best players do. And in Champions League, Haaland has been kind of a flat track bully. Semifinals last year, he didn't score. The final, he didn't score. This year against Madrid, again, he didn't score. He needs to show up in these kind of games. In the Premier League, in the games against the top 2, right? Arsenal and Liverpool, he did not score a goal in either of those games. That's when they need him to score. And we'll see against Chelsea this Sunday at FA Cup or Saturday in the FA Cup. Will he rise in that game? That's an important game. They're gonna need him to rise. So that's what I'm talking about with Erling Haaland. Great, Madrid played a perfect game. They cooked City, got the goal, and then they put 11 players behind the ball. Madrid have 14 Champions League. They have always, obviously Madrid are not a team that pops around the ball and plays tiki-taka football. I don't expect that from them, but I'm not going to say they played the perfect game. They kind of played a risky game because, especially after City scored the first goal with KDB, I thought City were going to win, and they almost did with KDB. He missed a sitter, so it wasn't the perfect game. They kind of rode their luck at times, but defensively, box defending was sensational from a lot of the guys, and that's why they have a lot of clutch guys. I thought the first half for Real Madrid was really good. The first half was excellent. The second half, they foot off the gas. They got tired, so I get it from that. But the first half, they were popping the ball around a lot. They were able to keep possession. They were able to play out the press. That was impressive. And that goal that they scored, right? From Carvajal to Jude, first touch to Vinicius to Rodrigo. That was a beautiful game. That was beautiful football from Madrid. Haaland is technically deficient. His movement across both legs was a chase down. I think Haaland just had a bad. Also, I think a center back like Rudiger is the worst nightmare matchup for Haaland because Rudiger can match him in pace. And Rudiger is much, much stronger than him. He could bully him. And I think Haaland doesn't – I don't think Haaland relishes the physical battle unless it's a guy that he can really bully. Against a Rudiger, bro, you're not bullying Rudiger. It's very rare. And Haaland definitely doesn't have the dog in him to bully a Rudiger. But, yeah, I think just to wrap the tie, Madrid did a good job. I agree that Mike was being a bit hyperbolic, saying he's not 10. But what would you rate him as a Liverpool manager? Jurgen Klopp. I personally have Jurgen Klopp in my fifth spot in the Premier League manager. I have obviously Sir Alex first. I have Pep Guardiola second. I have Jose Mourinho third. I have Arsene Wenger fourth, and I have Jurgen Klopp fifth. I think Jurgen Klopp, obviously, he only won one Premier League, but the way that he won the Premier League was in dominant fashion that we have not seen before. He basically clinched the league by Christmas. That's absolutely dominant. He had back-to-back years of 90-plus points. That's pretty rare to do in the Premier League. That's impressive. He rebuilt a team twice. That's impressive. He won the Champions League once and made 3 finals. That's impressive. I know he hasn't won everything, but he hasn't won that much, but I also have to factor in who he's going up against, the context of what he's going up against, the resources that he had. At the end of the day, one has Pep. Obviously, I think Pep's a better manager than Klopp, regardless of the resources and stuff like that. But Pep is state funded. He does have a lot. It is a little easier for him than it is for Jurgen Klopp. So that's why I kind of do it. Even at 1-1, I know Real Madrid got it. Yeah. I mean, I thought City were going to be able to kind of come back and kind of get the win, but Madrid defended well. But the penalty shootout was more confident from Madrid. I thought Madrid had the better shooters out there, and I know Modric missed, but Vasquez is clutch in penalties. Jude, Rudiger, bro, is just sensational. But yeah, for City, now they're just going to focus on the Prem, right, and probably FA Cup. But regardless of that, Madrid, I think for me they're the favorites now, and it's looking like obviously the tie against Bayern, which will kind of transition into Arsenal Bayern, and this is a tie that I actually want to talk about more. Arsenal Football Club, right? This is even more towards Arsenal fans than Arsenal Football Club itself. I thought for me, in this kind of game, football heritage prevailed in the sense that Bayern Munich had the more experienced players. They had the more experienced coach. They had the mental fortitude over Arsenal. They had the mental advantage. From the moment they went into Emirates and they walked away with a draw, this tie was over. Arsenal were never going to go into the Allianz and beat Bayern Munich at the Allianz. It was never going to happen. They don't have the squad. They don't have the strength, especially after losing to Aston Villa on the weekend. They had no confidence going into that game. You knew it was cooked, and you could tell from the players from minute one, they were not ready to be on that pitch. That's what ended up happening with Arsenal. And for me, Bayern were the better team over the two legs. They were deserved winners, and Thomas Tuchel is someone that I don't really give a lot of credit to typically. I think he is overrated as a manager, but the one thing I'll give Thomas Tuchel credit for is in tournament mode, he is one of the best to do it in the world right now. For a 2-game plan, Thomas Tuchel can cook up something sensational. He did it against Arsenal. He did it for Chelsea numerous times against the likes of Real Madrid, against Manchester City in the final. He knows how to cook up a game plan. That's for me why he's always and will forever be a tournament manager. He made the Champions League final with PSG. He made it with Chelsea and won it. And he might even make a Champions League final with Bayern Munich, this is the worst Bayern Munich in a decade. Do I think Bayern are bad only because of Tuchel? Absolutely not. I think Bayern have been regressing for a long time now, and this was finally the final catalyst that led to the Real in terms of now in the Bundesliga. I think they've had bad transfers over the last few years. They've kind of lost their mentality, their ethos, all that kind of stuff. But even with losing all of that, they're still able to beat Arsenal. And I think Arsenal fans, some of them just jumped the gun a little bit too early. I know you've been cooking in the Premier League, but you're going up against a team that has a bunch of players that know it all and know how to be there. Look at Kimmich yesterday. The guy has been at Bayern Munich for nearly a decade. He's seen it all. He knows what to do. Manuel Neuer is the greatest goalkeeper of all time. Alphonso Davies has been there, done that. Leroy Sané has been in numerous Champions Leagues. They know that. So for me, it was more mental. It wasn't more like on paper, Arsenal are the better team. Tactically, they are the better team. But that doesn't matter in Champions League football. It doesn't matter in knockout football. It's about taking the game from the scruff of the neck. And it didn't have to be Harry Kane. It didn't have to be Leroy Sané. It didn't have to be Kingsley Coman. It didn't have to be Musiala. It was Joshua Kimmich that took the game by the scruff of the neck with the diving header. Meanwhile, on the Arsenal side, man, I'm looking at Arteta, first of all. This is more on him than the players. These guys aren't ready yet. I understand. But as a coach, your team is a reflection of you. That's what for me. That's what I always think about a football team. A football team is a reflection of their coach. And when I look at Arsenal, I see weakness when the going gets tough. And then I look at the manager. You are the one that motivates them. You are the one that talks to them in the dressing room. You're the one that's meant to make them kind of believe more and more and more that they could do this. And those guys didn't see that. And I look at Bukayo Saka. I look at Martinelli. I look at their attack. bro, they're lifeless. It's like they're robots. There's no like, what do they say? Je ne sais quoi, stuff like that. They have no pause, but there's like nothing to watch. It's just robots. It's just always cut in and shoot. It's always overlap. Bro, they have no flair to the game. That's why in Champions League, bro, it's about the stars rising to the occasion, and we don't see that with I never see that with Arsenal, even in the Premier League and even now in the Premier League. Let's not forget, bro. Until about February, most of your goals came from set pieces. Champions League, you're not always gonna get with set pieces. You're gonna have to score the ball on the counter and stuff like that. On the counter attack, Arsenal are not as lethal as they were last year. Maybe because Gabriel Jesus is not the starting striker. Maybe because of Kai Havertz, that kind of lessens a little bit. Martinelli is not as effective as last year, but Saka is not as effective as last year. Your left center mid spot, there's no more Granit Xhaka with the late box crashing. Now you have a pivot of Declan Rice and Jorginho. You have four defenders in the back that none of them really like to attack. So it's your ultra defensive side. But if you could play, you could get away with an ultra defensive side, right? If you have ultimate game changers up front. Bar Odegaard, do Arsenal have any other game changers? I don't think so. So I think for me, Arteta, if you spent 700 mil, within 700 mil, you have to be able to bring in a game changer and a proper game changer. We make fun of Chelsea for spending £1 billion, no game changers. I look at Arsenal, Bar Odegaard, which was a fantastic signing. Also, the game changer. Declan Rice, you could maybe argue Declan Rice was almost a game changer in the Premier League, but in Champions League, he's been okay. I thought he was terrible over the two legs. I thought Goretzka and Laimer bullied him. He got caught ball watching, and a lot of their friends started saying that in these kind of games, we might have to play Declan Rice center back. He's wasteful at DM because he doesn't really know how to pass. So he can't really play the 8 in those games, but he has to because he also can't control the game as a 6. So where's he going to play? That for me, like when you look at midfielders that won a Champions League, right, that were like a little bit on the defensive side. Let's look at Chelsea, right? Because Jorginho played for both clubs. Jorginho at Chelsea, who do you have next to him? He had N'Golo Kante. N'Golo Kante was a game changer off the ball, right? Because of all the grass that he covered and stuff like that. But N'Golo Kante also had something in the attack in the final third. He was able to burst a run and do something. That's what it is with Chelsea. I think with Arsenal, I think they're missing a lot of game changers. They have to go address that in the summer. We'll see though. Today they came out reports and stuff like that. But for me, Bayern also nice because Declan Rice is playing as an 8, right? But as a 6, can you really trust Declan Rice to be a 6? Because she can't really progress the ball like that. That's what I think they need a controller that's more of an 8 than a 6. Because Jorginho is a deep line playmaker. I think for me, they would maybe need like a Frankie de Jong. Something like that. Odegaard doesn't overlap or underlap Saka to create space, and we have no proper left 8. I would move Odegaard to left 8 to feed Martinelli and get Saka dynamic runner in RCM like Jobberslai or ESR. Obviously, Emil Smith-Rowe. I've been seeing Arsenal fans talk about Emil Smith-Rowe. Y'all got to give that up. 1 second. Just have to text someone. I think ESR, they got to give that up, man. What else did you say? Jobberslai, that guy's mid. I think Arsenal. I think you need more like a dynamism in the midfield and in attack. I thought ESR was a good player at 2020, but he also hasn't played much football in the past 3 years. He looks crooked. Like that's what it is with ESR. I just don't think he's really that level anymore. They need higher level than that. That's what it is with ESR. I think he's a decent player, but I think at this point in his career, he needs to go to a mid-table club and just get proper minutes and maybe show that he can be at that level again. Because he just sits on the bench. Fabio Vieira was meant to be that kind of guy, right? He's meant to bring a dynamism to the midfield, right? Because you look at what Vitinha is doing with PSG, Fabio Vieira had more ratings from the football world. I don't see that. I don't see Fabio Vieira play. So that's an Arteta thing. You just want a bunch of robots and there's like no flair. That's what it is with Arsenal. But yeah, I thought Bayern, obviously, once again, were the deserving winners, and they go through to play Bayern Munich, to play Real Madrid and Arsenal. I'll say this about Arsenal. Is their season in total a failure? It's not really a failure, but it's also not a success. It's just meh. That's what it is. They kind of look a little bit better than last year in terms of Champions League, your first time in 8 years. Well, no, it was the first time in like 9 years in the Champions League. You made the quarterfinals. That's good. You're not going to win the Champions League in your first year back, bro. You would have to have a sensational squad with a sensational coach. They don't have that. So that's fine. In the league, I think they should have done better. I think earlier in the year, they kind of just weren't dynamic enough, and it kind of cost them some points. And now obviously that loss to Villa, for me, I think it's cooked over there. So I think Arsenal just go again next year, but I think this summer is very important. And next year is make or break for Arteta. If Arteta does not win a major trophy next year, or at least, bro, he would have to make a Champions League final and do really, really well in the league to the point where it's like, bro, you can't sack him because the time is ticking now, bro. After this summer, it's probably going to be £1 billion spent. You got to win something. You got to bring them trophies. And I think Arteta has to stop throwing away the cups, the League Cup and the FA Cup. Bro, this team needs to feel what it feels like to win a trophy because that's what the great teams do. The great teams, their first trophy is never the Premier League or the Champions League. It's always a Carabao. It's always an FA Cup. That's the first trophy. Because once you feel the gold, you want it more, and you know what it feels like to win the gold. So obviously, I know United won the Carabao Cup and stuff like that, but we were never ready to compete for the Premier League or the Champions League. Arsenal are ready to compete for it in terms of they had the squad to compete for it. Now it's about the mentality and getting over those obstacles. Because I said this on this clip, I said this on A-listers, I said this on a Gosh channel, I said it on every platform I've been since Sunday. This Arsenal team, as of this moment, are what they hate most. They are Tottenham Hotspur. That's what they are. You are. I hate to use the word, but it's bottle jobs because you claim this, you claim that. They try to put the players on the pedestal, all that kind of stuff, when they haven't achieved anything. And you can never guarantee success in football. There's no guarantees in football at all. So until you do it, and you get over the final hurdle and you lift the trophy, it's just what ifs. And that's what we said about Poch's Spurs. So what makes you different from Poch's Spurs? Nothing so far. Absolutely nothing. Because the FA Cup that Arteta won, that was Emery's squad. That was Wenger's squad. Now, this squad, these current players, of which every single player in this squad is an Arteta player, maybe except El Neni, you have to do something. To be fair, Klopp's first trophy was a UCL. So you know what? Maybe you're fair about that. But that's a rare case. It's a rare case. But spicy Spurs, shout out to Said. Actually, I might have said that about Arsenal maybe before Said, but I'll give Said the credit. Spicy Spurs. I like that a little bit better. But yeah, that's pretty much on that game. PSG and then Dortmund, Atletico. I'm gonna wrap it quick because I just want to get into Europa and Conference League. It's not gonna be a very long show because it's like 10:30 here. If you're in the UK, it's probably like 3-4 a.m. I'm sure you want to go to bed, so we're not gonna do it too long. But PSG, Barcelona. I thought Barcelona were the better team in the first leg, and they were the better team in the second leg until Araujo got the red card. Was it a red card? Yes, because it was a foul at the end of the day, and when you foul like that, it is a red. So that's pretty much I would say on that situation. But in terms of Barcelona, they'll be back. Obviously, it was great to see Barcelona lose. I don't like the club, but they have a nice young squad going. Lamine Yamal is the best 16-year-old I have ever seen in my life. There's no joke about that. Greg Araujo have the ultimate bozo. You know what? He might have a little bit of a bozo gene in him. I also didn't like Araujo's comments about Gundogan because Gundogan criticized him and said, just don't take the red card. Bro, I know Araujo is a great center back and stuff like that. He's a high feature. And people say, like, why is Gundogan throwing his teammate under the bus? Well, sometimes that's what leaders do. You have to sometimes put the blame public. Sometimes you just keep it behind closed doors, but Gundogan's a treble winner. He captained a treble winning team. He knows what it takes to win. He knows what it at the highest level. So I don't know why Araujo's not listening to him because that team doesn't have many leaders. It has Gundogan, it has Lewandowski, it has Sergio Roberto, and it was also what's his name? Ter Stegen, right? Those are really the leaders. Bro, listen to him. But nonetheless, I thought Xavi had a good plan, and I thought they would have probably won the tie if Araujo never got the red, but he did, and PSG capitalized. Big up Ousmane Dembele. We've been asking for Ousmane Dembele for the years and years to step up and rise onto the occasion. We all remember the World Cup final. That's the worst final performance we've ever seen in our lives. His brother was depressed and posting on Snapchat. That's how bad it got. But over these two legs, he rose to the occasion. And you know what they say, man? Hate is a great motivator. And that dude hates Barcelona and their fan base. And he was smiling like he just won the World Cup after that when he got subbed off yesterday or Tuesday. That's how much it meant to him. So he played fantastic, and he was the best player on the pitch over the two legs. So I got to give him credit because he was better than Mbappe over the two legs. So big him up. I thought Vitinha was also really good over the two legs. He really took it to. He looks like he's going to be a proper player. And PSG have a solid core. And even post Mbappe, you still have Dembele. You still have Zaire Emery. You have Xavi Simons coming back. You have Vitinha. I don't know how they're going to make that work, but maybe Xavi Simons has to do wing duties. But they have a couple of decent, nice little players. Mange, Hakimi, that Beraldo kid that they signed. So it's a nice little squad. But yeah, PSG, Barcola is another one. Griggs Barcola overhyped or decent. I kind of rate Barcola the way that I rate pretty much every other young winger. He's decent. He has good dribbling, but the end product is still not there. He has to work on that. But that's the highs and lows of a young winger, right? But I think the base level is there for Barcola. But yeah, PSG, for me, it looks like a Madrid PSG final. That's what it's set up to be, the custody of Mbappe. If you guys watch WWE, remember Dominic Mysterio, Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero, the custody of Dominic. It's going to be the custody of Mbappe in late May when it's Real Madrid versus PSG. And speaking of Mbappe, first leg, like I said, he was terrible. I thought he had a decent game Tuesday for the most part. Bro, you probably wasn't even doing roulettes, man. Give it up. Staffy. Well, Staffy can't really post any comments because he's not on the StreamYard, so I'm the only one that can post comments. And Pep cannot do what Klopp done at Liverpool and Gary Neville and Goldbridge. Maybe Pep couldn't do it, but Klopp couldn't do what Pep's done at City. So that it's managers are about circumstances and situations. And Klopp can't. One thing I'll say about Jurgen Klopp, once I get into Liverpool, I'll kind of talk about it. But I'll get back to that comment. I'll start. There you go. Dortmund. I think PSG do have obviously Dortmund do have a chance against PSG. They did top the group with the same group that PSG were in, right? So they of course have a chance. But Mbappe for me was had a decent two legs, and this is what I don't like about people when it comes to performances, stuff like that. When it comes to knockout football, I said this yesterday on this clip. Make sure you guys go subscribe to this clip. Someone put it in the comments if you can. In knockout football, for me, performances don't really matter. I don't take much stock into the performance if you win. Your job in in tournament football, in football in general, but especially not because it's not league. League, you have to show a level of consistency. In tournament football, you just have to be moments. You have to pick your moments and you have to capitalize on them. And Mbappe on Tuesday capitalized on the moments that were afforded to him and given to him, and he scored the 2 goals. That's what ended up happening. He scored the pen, a crucial pen, and he scored the tap-in. That's what it is with Mbappe. Is Mbappe the best player in the world? Absolutely, Mbappe is still the best player in the world. Did he have maybe a rough go over the 2 legs? Maybe, but we've seen Mbappe rise in Champions League multiple times, man. He scored at every single away ground in Champions League. So he is him, and people just kind of overdo it, like try to do revisionism. Mbappe doesn't rise, but the guy scored a hat trick in the World Cup final. What else is there to say about Mbappe? He is clutch. He was clutch on Tuesday. You don't have to have the best of games. Yo, Cristiano Ronaldo. Do you think Cristiano Ronaldo in Champions League was the best player at every single game that he played, or even for about 50% of the games he played? No. But what did Cristiano Ronaldo do in Champions League? He was always there when Real Madrid needed him. And so far this year for PSG, Mbappe is always there when they need him. And if they win this Champions League, it's because of Kylian Mbappe. It's because of Kylian Mbappe. He is the best player on the team. City fans trying to take the high road because Real Madrid sat back defending. Yeah, of course. I mean, I should know, man. I parked the bus to win Euros. Hattie and Breeze back-to-back. Obviously, the game wasn't at Nou Camp, but I know what you're trying to say. Away to Barcelona, he scored 5 goals in 2 games. Sensational, man. Mbappe performance felt like CR7 versus PSG 2018 UCL. Nothing special, but walked out. Yeah, bro. Sometimes that's what happens. You're not going to have a perfect game, bro. Not everyone's Lionel Messi, right? Well, Lionel Messi will drop about a 9 out of 10 every game. That's not Mbappe, man. His job out there, especially when he plays like as a striker, because he was a striker, is to score the goal, is to put the freaking ball in the back of the net. And that's what he did. He's a reason why they won. Maybe Dembele was a better player, but Mbappe was the most effective one. And that's what matters in tournament football, in my opinion. But yeah, it's for PSG. And then obviously the last round, Dortmund versus Atleti. Dortmund got the job done. Big up the boys in Dortmund. Semi-finalists from getting picked to finish last in the group of death to winning to being in the UCL semifinals is absolutely incredible achievement. I know that Sancho price is increasing, even though he did have a bad game against Atleti, to be fair, in the second leg, but you could tell that he's a lot more confident at Dortmund and he's enjoying his football. So big up to him for that. But my main takeaway from Dortmund was more on Atleti's side because Atleti should never be losing that draw, man. Not what I thought. I think Diego Simeone, all-time coach, not taking away from him, but people with Atleti have to get over the premonition that Atleti is a defensive team. They're no longer a defensive team. The old guard is gone. The Diego Godin is gone. Miranda is gone. Felipe Luis is gone. Juanfran is gone. Jimenez is washed. Savage is washed. And Hermoso's a ball-playing center back. Aspilicueta, ball-playing center back. Reynaldo, ball-playing center back. It's not a defensive team. Wingbacks, it's flying wingbacks. It's not defensive wingbacks. So, I'm sorry, I'll try to avoid a criticism. Yeah, I think, obviously, Diego Simeone is still an all-time manager, and he's done an incredible job, but there are moments where he bottles it. And I think, for me, he did kind of bottle it because I don't know why he thought he could play a little bit defensive against Dortmund at St. Luna Park, bro. Yeah, that's not going to work, bro. Try to go machine for machine. Because it worked for you at the Metropolitano against Inter. It worked for you in the first leg. Do it, bro. You could go attack for attack. You have the players to do it. You have the attack to do it. So do it. That's for me why he got complacent and Dortmund capitalized on it. The likes of Marcel Sabitzer, fantastic game. Ian Matson, fantastic game. Julian Brandt, fantastic game. That's what he has to do more there. So I gotta give Dortmund credit, and PSG are gonna struggle, man. I think Dortmund are a really well-drilled team. They have experienced players like Mats Hummels, Emre Can, Marco Reus off the bench. You never know what can happen, man. But I do think it's a PSG versus Madrid final getting locked up. So we'll see. But that's it about Champions League because it's already been like 2 days. Kind of want to go into Europa League now. Now, obviously, we're gonna start off with the biggest result, which was Liverpool getting knocked out. I know they won today, but after they held the 3-0 to Atalanta. Before I get into Liverpool, one second. Atleti beat Liverpool, then go out to Tyler Adams and beat a great Inter side, then lose to Sabitzer. Hey, man, Diego Simeone needs to knock out all the great teams, right? That's the beauty of tournament football, man. That's the beauty. We need uncomfortable convos about the Virgo, the Carpathian robot that gets locked up. It's about Mbappe. I mean, not Mbappe. Holland. Kind of already talked about it. Greece is looking more and more. Well, I don't even feel bad about Atleti. I feel bad about Griezmann and Chris. He should have rised. At the end of the day, he should have rised. He had a bad game. I do hear you, AC Chris. He should have done better, and he did it. And that's Griezmann, man. World Cup, he's the best player on the pitch. Champions League, typically the best player, but just didn't rise, man. But we still have a Euros to win. It's calm. But yeah, it's unfortunate for Griezmann. But yeah, Europa League. First of all, I want to big up Atalanta. Obviously, I wasn't doing YouTube back then, but Gasperini, when I was with Serie A, bro, Gasperini moved me from like 2018-19, the Ilicic days, Papu Gomez days, that kind of thing. Gosens, Hattabor, Christian Romero, Muriel, all those kind of players. I always loved Atalanta. I thought Gasperini brought a nice little refresh into Serie A, right? Like a little bit of attack, the spice into Serie A because it was so boring, so stale. And he's the first one that really brought the attacking three back into Serie A. It used to be like very defensive. It was attacking once again, right? Kind of rejuvenated. I think James Horncastle from The Athletic talked about it at Anfield post-game. How Gasperini, bro, you look at a couple of these managers that are up and coming, like Thiago Motta and a couple other managers, they're Gasperini sons, pretty much. That's what it is. So, big credit to Gasperini, man. Gasperini got sacked at Inter Milan. Yeah, bro. They just didn't know. And he got the platform at Atalanta, and he's cooked, man. He almost made a Champions League semifinal. Excuse me, except he lost to PSG, right? Papu Gomez, if you know, man. I love that. I love the Atalanta team. Zapacosta looking like Cafu. I want to say, like, yeah. But now, big up Gasperini, man. Scamacca, Greg Stocks. You know, man. I love Scamacca Sassuolo. West Ham was the wrong move for him. I hope he gets another chance at like a bigger move. Sensational player. Talk about Central. But he had a terrible game, so what do you want me to talk about? What do you want me to talk about, bro? He's in Champions League semifinal. I'm happy for him, man. Price of the brick going up. That's all that matters. 45, 50 mil. By the way, Dortmund made 100 mil from making the Champions League semifinals. 50 mil of that can go to Sancho. Thank you very much. I'll be waiting. Even his subs were attacking. Oh, yeah, boy, he don't hide. That's one thing I like about Gasperini. It's high risk, high reward. He will lay on his sword. And I respect that in the manager. But yeah, Atalanta is sensational. Man-to-man press, marking, all that kind of stuff. They bullied Liverpool. They bullied him at Anfield, and even in the game, Liverpool had the more chances. But there were moments where Atalanta were just slicing through them. They were pressing like maniacs, and they were winning their duels. That's what it takes. That's what it takes, man. So I got to give him credit. Moyes got his hands on talent and don't know what to do. Moyes knows how to deal with talent, except that striker. He wants the striker to do the worst shift ever. That's what it is. We underestimated Atalanta. The lineup at Anfield was so weak, and we got cooked. First loss at Anfield. I'm going to be real. I think it's not even underestimated. I think just Liverpool's squad is not that good. It's as simple as that, bro. Atalanta have game changers. You have Cooper Myers, my boy. You have Ademola Lookman. You have Skamaka. You have Pasalic. You have the guys in the back, Ruggeri. They have good players, man. They have good players and they have a great coach. So, wait, let's talk about Paulo that shit. Man, nah. Atalanta, I give them praise. Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp. I'll agree with one thing with Das. It is time for Jurgen Klopp to go, and he made the right choice to leave. Because I do think Liverpool need a little bit of a change. And this has happened to Jurgen Klopp at every club he's been at. And it happened to Dortmund. He had to leave eventually. And I thought he was going to leave after they finished fifth last year, right? Maybe that was the year. Maybe just get a whole new start. But he signed the contract and he oversaw the first part of the rebuild. And for the most part this year, it's worked, right? They were first in the Premier League for about half the year. They win the 4 competitions, but it's all come crashing down. And at the end of the day, it's not really Klopp. Well, it is kind of Klopp because this is a squad that he built. He had a little bit more of a say than he had in his first squad that Michael Edwards mostly built, which I'll agree with that. Michael Edwards built it, but Jurgen Klopp was the one that got given the controller, and he was the one controlling the players. So at the end of the day, it's Edwards' success, but it's Jurgen Klopp that also is the more successful person when it comes to that. So I'll say that's about my thought on that. Brother, we'll get to Unai Emery when we get to Conference League, man. We're on a plan. We're now in Europa League. We're going down the competitions. There's a tier list. Jeez, man. It's because he knew he signed 3 ship. Yeah, he did, and he went on to 10 Hawk targets, and he paid the price for it. That's what ended up happening. But yeah, Jurgen Klopp, I think it's time for him to move on. And Liverpool, he is moving on at the right time. He kind of got them a little bit of a younger squad. You still have the likes of Konate. You have Kwanzaa. You have McAllister. You have Jobazlai to a certain extent. You still have a Harvey Elliott. You have a Fabio Carvalho coming back for loan from Hull City, who's a top talent. So they have a couple young players. You have Connor Bradley, Jadon Dance, who I think could be a crucial player for Liverpool once he matures a little bit more. So it's a good time to get a new manager in. You have Michael Edwards back, and he maybe can oversee a rebuild again. And will it be as successful as Klopp's? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But it is time for Jurgen Klopp to move on, and you could tell the football. I will agree with that. It is getting stale a little bit. It is a little bit stale. It's a little bit repetitive, but it's also a system that's worked for a very long time. So I understand not switching it to a certain extent, but you do have to tweak a little bit of things. And he has tweaked a little bit of things because when did Trent used to invert? When did Joe Gomez used to invert, right? We never saw that under the old Klopp. We had flying fullbacks. So he has changed a little bit of stuff. And even the game against City at Anfield, Liverpool were the ones that looked like more like a Manchester City team than City looked like more of a Liverpool team. So that's what ended up happening. Second year Endo. At the end of the day, there's a reason why Endo was that cheap, and he is like almost 30 years old. He's a squad player at the end of the day. He's not like a top level 6. But mate, that's what cried when Jurgen goes, and then Das sees it was FSG the owners ever caught. Look, I think with Klopp is like, I'm not gonna give FSG too much. I'll give FSG some blame, but I'll say this about FSG, man. They know where to hire winners and stuff like that in the front office and stuff like that. Maybe with one of the penny pinch and stuff like that, right? But with Jurgen Klopp, it's just he's done this at every club, bro. The cycle gets stale. And even Liverpool, it lasted a little bit longer than it did on Mainz and Dortmund. Because Dortmund, don't forget, he had a sensational squad. But he had fantastic players. Marco Reus, Mario Götze, Lewandowski, Blaszczykowski, Mats Hummels, Piszczek, Weidenfeller. All these guys, man. Ilkay Gundogan, Nuri Sahin. He had amazing players. And Liverpool, he's had fantastic players. But at the end of the day, coaching is very hard. And he's not a Pep Guardiola who's innovating every day, right? Come up with new ideas. Jurgen Klopp has one philosophy, and he'll tweak it a little bit, but the core of it is the same. That's what it is with Klopp. I'm even about Endo crazy average, like a Liverpool cleverly. Liverpool have never been good at the same time. That is true. We have never been good at the same time. So now it's their time to be bad again, and it's my time to be good. That's what I need. Prime Hummels, bro, sensational. I talk about when doing Mats Hummels, bro. Top 5 center back in the past decade, man. Absolutely sensational player. I'm listening to you all sharper. Don't peer. I mean, you're listening to me, but you're asking me about Dunheimer, man. Give it up. But yeah, with Liverpool, like I said, Klopp, it's time to go, and it's time for a couple of the old players to go. Mohamed Salah, Al Ittihad is calling. It's time for Salah. It's time to move on from Mohamed Salah, and it's time to get a good fee from it. If a Saudi club comes in again with 80 plus million, bro, take it and run. Take it and run. There's plenty of wingers out there that may not repeat what Salah does. Obviously, the GA and all that kind of stuff, but they need a little bit of a change in the attack because Nunez is struggling, Diaz is struggling, Gakpo is just not good. But Mohamed Salah is also struggling, and I think he's losing it year by year. The ball striking is declining. The creative bag is still there, right? But his finishing has gotten worse and worse and worse. The dribbling is getting worse and worse and worse. It's time to just cash in, man. You're starting a whole new squad. And for me, when I look, I've always said this about the 4 guys in Liverpool, right? That for me define the Klopp era. You have Mohamed Salah, you have Alisson, you have Van Dijk, and you have maybe like a Trent. Trent's obviously the youngest, so he has to stay. Van Dijk for me is the best at his position out of the 4. He's the best center back in the world. He should stay. Alisson's the best goalkeeper in the world. He should stay. Mohamed Salah, for me, he's the most replaceable one. I'm not saying this to be insulting to Mohamed Salah. I think he's all-time great. But at the end of the day, you're more likely to find another Mohamed Salah. You're more likely to find another Van Dijk, another Alisson, or another Trent. That's what I'll say on the situation. So, Robertson. Robertson, you can also find another Robertson. I'm not going to lie. He's nothing special. Like, Trent's a one-of-one right back. The creative bag that he has, the ability to invert, the passing, sensational. But maybe Trent goes to Madrid. I don't think he will, though. I think Liverpool is still going to be consistent enough where he stays, and I think he's future Liverpool captain. I think it's set in stone. He sold to buy at Dortmund too. They sold all his best players. Klopp created Gunningen. Yeah, Klopp does make stars, bro. He's a fantastic, and that's why I always like Jurgen Klopp. That's why I always like Jurgen Klopp more than a Pep in terms of. I don't rate Klopp over Pep. I think Pep's a better coach. I think Pep's a more dominant coach. But Klopp's ability to turn like wine into water, that kind of thing, right? He can make stars, and he can make an average player look a little bit better than they can. With Pep to be able to coach effectively, yes, he can make some bad players look better, but he makes the good players look great. There needs to be a solid technical base with a Pep squad. I think with Klopp, you can take an average player and make them look better. Like at United, for example, Klopp can make that United team look at a decent level, bro. Klopp can take Rashford and take them to a whole nother level. It's the stuff like that, right? That's what I'm talking about with Robertson. Robertson's one of the best left backs in Prem history, but he got to give it up at the end of the day, bro. It's 2024. Nah, Mane, Mbappe, and Salah were the best front three in the league. They also were a perfect trio. They all worked together. Why am I a fraud? Why am I a fraud? Tell me why I'm a fraud. Go back to shopping, man. Go back to shopping. That 2012 BVB team was OG hip. Bro, that's my favorite team on FIFA to use. But yeah, that's pretty much it with Liverpool, though. The season's over. It's time to move on with Amorim, maybe. I kind of just gotta go. Diaz Darwin is so Media House, Barca, or PSG. Money laundering. That's what it is. But other Europa League fixtures, we had West Ham Leverkusen. Leverkusen continue the invincible treble, or the unbeaten treble, whatever you want to call it. They got the result at the end with a Frimpong own goal, or Frimpong deflection goal that he scored. Big up to that. And Xabi Alonso, man, sensational team. They're the favorites by far to win it. I don't know. They have a Roma team that's versed, but man, Xabi Alonso, Liverpool fans, y'all gotta hold that up, man. He's staying in Leverkusen and he's taking the Madrid job in a couple of years. That's what it's all set up for. But sensational coach, sensational system. Big up to them for winning the Bundesliga. And they're just a great team, man. Florian Wirtz, pound for pound, Pep is Klopp. Klopp is better than Pep has always had the back. Okay, pound for pound stuff. But when it comes to pound for pound, though, I don't really care because for me, Pep is just more dominant. Bro, Pep Guardiola is the best league manager we've ever seen. He is dominant in the league. Like, absolutely dominant in the league. Even Sir Alex Ferguson wasn't that dominant in the league. Pep's football is dominant. And it's that kind of stuff. He's a winning, boy, his winning rates are fantastic. But I understand where you're trying to say that, okay, Pep always needs the better players, but it's also hard to put a group of players together that are all great and make some of them sacrifice and stuff like that. So for me, I just think Pep's better, man. He's just a better coach. It's simple as that. Leverkusen they did look poor because they won the Bundesliga on Sunday, bro. They were still drunk. I think they already knew they had the tie locked up, and obviously West Ham took their early lead, but they kind of locked in a little bit more. And now that the Bundesliga locked up, and they're eventually going to get over the the wear off and stuff like that. We won the league moment. The focus on Europa because the Pokal already locked up, man. They're playing some second division team, so they just have to focus on Europa League, and they have a tough task ahead of them with Roma. But with Leverkusen, look at that squad. It's a great team, and Xabi Alonso, man, job well done. I'm really happy for him. I love seeing midfielders turn into coaches and thrive. So, yeah. Who hates Madrid more? Liverpool, because Liverpool lost 2 Champions League finals to them. So it has to be Liverpool by default. FSG saved for 2 years for Jude hype. Alonso will join us hype. Yeah, bro. They got to give it up, man. They got to super give it up. Let's say LFC cash in on Mo. Who would you replace Salah with? I think Nico Williams would be a good shout. Also, when I'm looking at your coach, which is most likely Amorim, he doesn't really play with wingers. He has like inside 10s or wide 10s, as you say. In a 3-4-3. So he needs pocket players. Obviously, I think he did well with Marcus Edwards. I don't know who Liverpool would buy, man. It's a tough decision. But I think like a Harvey Elliott would then suit Amorim to a T, right? The pocket player on the right hand side, he'll cook. So you'll see. But you can't do it like for like with Salah. I think you just have to go by an effective winger that could probably play both sides and that's versatile in their game. It's very hard to like kind of just talk about who's replacing like an all-time great at a club, in my opinion. But yeah, Xabi Alonso, imagine being pissed and still drawing. Yeah, man, it's sensational. But Leverkusen, your job. West Ham, David Moyes. I think David Moyes' run is over at West Ham. I think he'll leave at the end of the year. Or Bayern, no shot. Leverkusen are a good team, but they're not winning the Champions League next year. If they go up against the likes of like a Real Madrid and stuff like that, it's clipped. Now we pushed him to end day twice, and he just made it by 1 point. Also, he hadn't won Champions League since Messi. He took these. Already that. Man, by the way, don't forget who made Klopp run from the Bundesliga the first time. By the way, that's Pep Guardiola. So, bro, yeah, that's what it is. Kudus is a good shout. I kind of hear that. That's a good shout. I like that. That'd be interesting. I don't know how much it costs you though, but that's a good shout. Man, West Ham, David Moyes. It's the end of the road. Sensational. Won a Conference League with them. Got them to Europa League quarterfinals, Europa League semifinals. It's a fantastic job. I don't know who's going to come in. I do think they need to go on a younger manager route, someone that plays a little bit more progressive football, because when you look at that squad, it is a more attacking squad. Paqueta, who might leave though, but Kudus, Jared Bowen, who else? James Ward-Prowse. Stuff like it's just Crespo can play ball a little bit. They just have, I think they have a little bit of a nice little squad, and their academy's killing it. So I think it's time for David Moyes to move on. Maybe like Graham Potter can go there. Kieran McKenna from Ipswich, Michael Carrick obviously used to play for West Ham in the academy, so we'll see. And on the other side of the draw, Benfica Marseille, I didn't watch. I'm not going to comment on it, but I know Marseille won on pens. Roma Milan, the Italian battle. Roma with their own midfielder legend coach and Daniel De Rossi beat Milan comfortably 3-1 on aggregate. Obviously, It's just sensational for me with what Daniel De Rossi's done at Roma. He's battling top four for them. I think they're about a couple points off Bologna. They play each other this weekend, which is going to be a fun matchup. And yeah, man, Jose Mourinho left, and Roma are thriving. Who could have guessed that? I told Staffy, but he called me a hater, bro. Roma was always a better team than what Jose made them look like. They have a lot of good players: Paulo Dybala, Romelu Lukaku, Pellegrini, Evan Ndika, Mancini, Zalewski. They have a bunch of nice little players, and Daniel De Rossi's cooking with them. I know he's not going to get the job. I think someone else is going to get it, but it's all about motivating your players to a certain degree, and that's what Daniel De Rossi's doing at Roma. So big up to him. As for AC Milan, bro, I think AC Milan and Manchester United are the same club. They're really two hideous twins, except Milan were able to get the league title a couple years ago. But everything else, bro, it's clip. Pioli's going to get sacked. Rafael Leao, he had the assist today. I think Rafael Leao, I think he's a maverick. I think he's kind of a similar player to Marcus Rashford. I always compared them. I think they need to be in really perfect situations for them to really thrive. I think he needs a better coach. He needs a better striker next to him. That's not Olivier Giroud. But we'll see. I don't think any club's really going to go by Leao this summer. I think he'll be at Milan next year. They'll be in Champions League football again, obviously, because they're going to finish second in Serie A. So we'll see who they get as a new coach. But I do think Milan, this upcoming summer for them, is very, very crucial. And then, obviously, like I said, Leverkusen play Roma. Atalanta play Marseille. If I had to predict the final right now, I'd go Atalanta-Leverkusen. So Gasperini versus Xabi Alonso, the battle of the three-back. That sounds nice, man. That sounds nice. For any Liverpool fans that bought a ticket to Dublin to go watch the game because you thought Liverpool were going to make it, you can go watch your ex-legend make the final, go play. So there you go. You have that. You have that going for you, right? And then obviously, last but not least, the Conference League. I'm only going to talk about a couple games because I don't care about Victoria Pleasant versus Fiorentina, and I don't care about Club Brugge versus PAOK. The first game I'm going to talk about, my beloved Olympiakos beat Fenerbahce on pens. Shout out my boy Zolakis, the goalkeeper. It feels good to be in a European semifinal. Obviously, I know it's Conference League and all that kind of stuff, but this is why Conference League was created to give teams like Olympiakos, who are typically kind of European heritage in terms of they've always been in Champions League football and that kind of stuff. Obviously, we haven't been able to hang on that level the past couple of years because of other stuff, but they made the Conference League. So I'm really happy for us. I thought we played better over the two legs than Fenerbahce. We were up 3-0 at Karaiskaki. We blew it 3-2. Fenerbahce scored first in Turkey, but we played well over the 120 minutes, and the penalty shootout, obviously we won. What does it mean? Really, obviously we play Aston Villa next round, so it's kind of clipped, right? We're going to lose to them, but I'm just happy. Greg's not biased. You know Roger's handball thing. Yeah, I know. I know what you're trying to say, man. I understand that Klopp has had harder difficulties and harder pastures than Pep, but it's just how I view football. Who I think is the better coach, I think it's Pep. Don't for example, I'd rather watch Klopp ball than Pep ball. I view Klopp's football more entertaining at its peak level, right? At their peak levels, either teams, the way that they play football, I always found Liverpool more entertaining because it's more chaotic, and I love chaotic football. I grew up on chaotic football with Fergie, so that's what it is. But back to Olympiakos. Olympiakos. That's how I say it. Yeah. It's just a great result, man. It's just very happy. I'm very happy for Greek football. Obviously, we had the horrible loss to Georgia. For the Euro qualifiers, but we did our job in the Conference League, man. It felt really sweet. I'm really happy for us. And now it's just about what's it called? It's house money, right? You play Aston Villa. If you knock them out, fantastic. If you lose to them, you lost to a Premier team. So it is what it is, man. But happy for the boys, and now it's just about getting that job done. And it'd be nice to make the final in Athens. But obviously, the other game, though, the game that a lot of people watched because it was on that early kickoff and nothing else was on. Lille Villa, fantastic game. I tuned in for it because a lot of good players on display. From the Villa side, we obviously all know of them, and from Lille side, what's it called? Damn, us in the UK mispronounce your clubs, and it is what it is, man. On the Lille side, you had the likes of Angel Gomez, Carrington product. If you know, you know, your boy. You had Lenny Euro, who's the hottest center back prospect on the market right now. Everyone wants him. Madrid bound. You have Thiago Santos, who's on my right back shortlist for United. I think he's a fantastic player. You have Chevalier, who I see Chris kind of mentioned, the little keeper. Yeah, Chevalier, really good keeper. I've heard good things about him. You have Andre, the OG. You have Jonathan David, who's the Romano kind of industry plant. A lot of on display, and I thought Lille was a better team for over 90 minutes. I don't know how they didn't win the game. No idea. But Villa stuck in it. I think Matty Cash scored the goal, right? To make it 2-1. And Chevalier in the extra time, the fantastic save on Douglas Luiz header. I don't get how he didn't score that, but it is what it is. And then penalties. I have one thing to say. I don't understand how you can get a yellow card during the game and then get a yellow card during a penalty shootout and not get kicked out the game. That makes no sense to me because the game is still technically going on. I know it's over after 120 minutes, but I don't get it. Emi Martinez should have gotten said no. Matty Cash handball, for me, it was a pen, personally. But, bro, they don't get it, man. I went on A-list. I talked about like Carrington, like Arsenal's academy is better than ours. Hale End. Look at Kovar today. Leverkusen. Carrington. Angel Gomez. Carrington. Well, I don't get it, man. They don't get Carrington. I need Emery stuff. I have bad news for you. Don Unai, when it comes to European competitions, especially the second tier and third tier ones, cash money, man. You ain't stopping him. He was not stopping him. So, yeah, man. Credit to Unai Emery. Villa, they got the job done. And they have the easy path now. It's Olympiakos, and then it's Fiorentina. It's slim. It's easy, man. I thought Lille was a better team, but they didn't get the job done. But I think Lille are good. I like both. It's just, you know what? Yes, great. They said the first year. Yeah, it's so dumb. I look at all these teams the way that they play football, and I look at United and I just sigh. It's like, bro, look at the way that Lille were popping the ball around, the switches and all that kind of stuff, bro. We need better technical quality. But nah, man. Honestly, it was a fantastic week of European football. It was a fantastic hate watch week from last Tuesday until this past Thursday. Liverpool, the L's they took, City L, the Arsenal double L. It was all so fantastic, and it was just great football. And this is what football needed because Champions League has been dead over the past couple of years, and it got the rejuvenation it needed. So I'm very happy for him. Fiorentina are a good team, to be fair. Italiano's a good coach, but I think Villa will have a little bit too much for them. Same way West Ham had a little bit too much for them last year in the conference league. You know what I'm saying? But it was just a fantastic week of European football, and I'm so happy for the sport. This is what the sport's all about, right? We have our leagues, all that kind of stuff. Emi's the biggest villain. Bro, I hate him so much. He's so annoying. So jarring. He's not a good keeper. That's the thing. He's a fantastic shot stopper for penalties. It's amazing. Great analysis. Yeah, I mean, honestly, my analysis could have been better, but it's also very late. So I'm not trying to keep you guys too long here. But appreciate all the 45 of you that stuck in here. I appreciate every single one of you. I switched channels to see City lose, made my day. I even forgot about, bro. Fantastic. But another thing I'll say is, I know all of us here are Premier League fans. I'll say this one thing. Everyone has to stop saying the Premier League is the best league in the world. This current state of the Premier League is not the best league in the world. I genuinely think it's horrible. Every team tries to play the same way. There's no tactical variation. It's just so mid, bro. No team knows how to defend. The box defending is mid. The attacking play is shit. It's just very, very mediocre. And I look at Serie A, I see a bunch of teams that all know how to play differently. Roma played differently from Atalanta. They all play differently from Juventus. They all play differently from Inter. So it's that kind of thing. So I think for me, it's just so mid in terms of the Premier League, and that's why the Premier League only has one team left in Europe. They got bullied in Europe this year, and there just needs to be a little bit more tactical variation in the Prem. That's what I'm waiting for personally, because you look at the two best teams in the Prem this year. Oh, they're two carbon copies of each other. Arsenal's the little bro of Manchester City. Arteta tries to be Pep. That's what it is, man. So, like, you look at La Liga, Barca, Madrid, and Atletico all play different styles of football. Girona are kind of maybe a little bit more like Barcelona now in the way that they kind of play football, but they're all different. You look at Serie A, Inter, Milan, Juventus, and Roma all play different styles of football. Bundesliga, Xavi, Tuchel, Bayer Leverkusen, Bayern Munich, Dortmund, Leipzig all play different styles of football. Exactly, bro. It's all the same thing. So I think the Premier League needed this humbling, in my opinion, and it's time to just change it, man. It's very, very boring. But big up to all the other teams in Europe. They did their job. It's going to be a fun semifinals for all three competitions. I'm excited. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. We pretty much hit the hour mark. Follow me at Michael_Griggs26 on Twitter. Obviously, Griggs Talks on YouTube, all that kind of stuff. It's clipped. Make sure you guys do subscribe there. Me, Omar CK, we started the pod. We talked about Champions League this week. We're gonna get more and more episodes kind of during the summer. It's the end of the season, so we kind of started a little bit late, but the summer's gonna be fun. Euros, all that kind of stuff to talk about, transfers, games, like quizzes, all that kind of stuff. We're gonna do it. So make sure you guys are locked in on there. Before you go, are you better at FIFA than Staffy? I am better at FIFA than Staffy, but I am a retired FIFA player. I have given up. I have left it to the kids, the new generation. Pep win the league. He kind of did, but yeah. And then what was I gonna say? What's coming up? NBA playoff preview, maybe Saturday morning. I'll try and do it before the game start. Saeed TV tomorrow, debate show. You guys know the drill, all that kind of stuff. And I had something else coming up. What was I about to say? Oh, I have an article coming out. So I have an article. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. I'm dropping an article on this Champions League week that kind of that just happened. And if you guys like feature articles, I have one coming out next week on Bayer Leverkusen. I'm going to talk about how they went from Leverkusen. If you guys know the history of Leverkusen, how they almost won the treble in 2002, and they bottled it at the final stage in each and every single competition. And I'm going to compare it to this year and how it's going, because they already got the first task done, which is win the Bundesliga. So if you like those kind of articles, I'll be dropping that next week on Urban Pitch, which is the site I write for. And yeah, Kroos has less PR than Modric, but I think Kroos is better. I don't think Kroos is better than Modric. I think Modric is better. But I'll say this about Toni Kroos. Toni Kroos, I think, is up there. I think there's only one deep line playmaker that's better than Toni Kroos all time, and I think it's Andrea Pirlo. Other than Andrea Pirlo, I think Toni Kroos is the second best deep line playmaker of all time, in my opinion. Actually, third. Paul Scholes is second. But, yeah. Andre Gomes, Leverkusen. Yeah, man. So make sure I'll be on the lookout for that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else for me to plug. Not really. So, yeah, I'll be NBA playoff preview Saturday if you like the hoops. No, Kroos. No, I never said Kroos is better than Pirlo. I said he's third all time in my DLP list. I have Pirlo first, I have Scholes second, and I have Kroos third. I think Kroos is the third best deep line playmaker of all time. I don't think anyone. I think those are the top three. Yeah, I know it's late for you guys. It's late for me. My mom fell asleep, so it's kind of peak. Thanks for all of you that tuned in. If we got subs, I appreciate it. I don't know how many likes we're at. Appreciate all of you. You guys are boys. Shout out Staffy for the raid. That's bro for life. So I'll catch you guys next time, and peace.